Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. Today is a very special video. It is another how to build video, but we're going to be building a character very close to my heart. Take a look at this image. This was the very first design done by my buddy Jay of the Raven Knight. The very first avatar that I had to go with this channel. I absolutely love this image, and I used it for a long time until Jay updated it to have more of a Lawbringer feel. But my buddy Geist Draken really liked this image and wanted to try to create a Warden skin or a Warden build that looked like this image to create his very own Raven Knight in For Honor. He made an awesome video, the link will be in the description, where you can see him showcasing this skin, and I asked him how to build it. He told me how, I put it together, and he told me that if I wanted to, I could tweak it and edit it the way I wanted to, and I did. It took me a long time. I had to really think about what I wanted to do, but now I have tweaked it up, and I'm ready to share with you guys. Before I go into this, I want to give a big thanks to Geist Draken, who started this. Go check out his video, go subscribe to him, go give him a thumbs up, because he did a really great job, and I honestly liked what he did. I just wanted to make some minor edits of my own, and really they are minor edits to go along with the lore of the Raven himself, because I am writing his lore. I'm making a series of videos talking about the Raven Lord's lore and basically who he is, where he comes from, all that fun stuff, and I'll be telling you more about that later here. But first, I know what you guys want. You want to know how to build this character. So let's not waste any more time and get right into it. To start with, you need the Scriptor Helm. The Scriptor Helm. Take a look at that. Doesn't that look really nice? Looks a lot like the helm, doesn't it? You're going to need the Ventosus chest. The Ventosus chest gives this really good cinnabar look to it. It gives a really good crimson overall cover for your coloring, which you're going to need for the material. And you got that cool golden eagle on the chest, but honestly, you could just imagine that's a golden raven or a dragon or something, because that's going to go along with the Raven Lord's lore. But dragons and ravens are a big part of his lore, go figure. His arms, I use the Gabriel Zenith arms because that's what Geist recommended, but you could also go with the Ventosus arms or the Megara arms. Any of those would work fine. Megara arms actually looks really good. The Ventosus arms meld well into the Ventosus chest, but Geist did use Gabriel Zenith, and it looks really good. Now, here's the cool thing about Gabriel Zenith. You might look at the arms and say, Raven, one of the big problems I see with the Gabriel Zenith arms is the gauntlets. They are pale in color and do not look red like the rest of the armor. Is that going to be a problem? Well, look again at the armor that Jay drew. Look again at the original avatar. It doesn't match very well either. It's just embossed. It just has engravings on it. So this actually does fit pretty well. However, what I will say is you'll notice with Gabriel Zenith, there is a gold tint to the armor. There's a gold lining, and that's not in the avatar, which is why I said you may want Megara instead, because Megara doesn't have that gold tint. But I actually kind of like the gold tint, so I'll stick with Gabriel Zenith. Okay? All right, now for the weapon. I did change this, so guys, if you're watching, I did make some changes to this. First, you want the Camillus blade. You want the Camillus blade. Then, for the hilt, you want the Masterful Diligentia hilt. The Masterful Diligentia hilt. Now, if you don't have the Masterful Diligentia hilt, that's fine. You can go with the Vertebratus helm, Vertebratus hilt, or you can go with, there it is, the Death's Glare hilt, which was what Geist used initially. You could go with either one, but there's a reason I went Masterful Diligentia, sorry, I can't speak, Diligentia hilt. And then for the guard, I used Unwaking Nightmare. I used the Unwaking Nightmare guard. If you do not have the Unwaking Nightmare guard, that is fine. There are good substitutions that you can use. You can use the Hell's Champion guard. You can use the Howard guard. You can use the Deathglare guard. Or you can use the Galford guard. Any of those would work fine. I would also recommend the Aragon guard, which would look really good. Now, if you want one that looks exactly like the image, go down here. You'll probably want the Garian guard, the Bellius guard, the Guilain guard, the Engrarum guard. All of these would look like something from the image, but to make it look the way I wanted to in the lore, this is probably what I'd lean on. Now, the reason I went with this build instead is because of this. One of the things that I really wanted to hone in on with the Raven Knight's lore is that he is a dark figure. Now that he's evil, he's actually good. He's trying to save his homeland. He's trying to save his home and rebuild his kingdom from the ground up and turn it back into the great Tigris Empire. But he has to go down a dark path to do it. He has to embrace a very dangerous power called the Yatagharis Eye, which allows him incredible powers but it does cost him a great deal. And this sword, when I look at it, gives off this air of nobility. Like the hilt, and the hilt looks prestigious. It looks good. And if you look at the very bottom of the hilt, you notice this sort of oval right in the middle of it. I think of that as like the holy eye, the holy aspect of the eye. But then when you look at the blade, it looks a little bit more dark, still fierce, still noble, but a little bit more darkness to it, a little bit more edginess. And then finally, when you look at the guard, that is stepping into the definition of this is dark, this is dangerous. You stepped into something a little bit dangerous. Plus, if you look at the skull in the center, you see that black spot right on the forehead. I think of that as the marking of the Yatagara's eye, because the eye that the Yatagara's eye that Raven gains is right on his forehead. So there you go. That is how you build the blade. So as a reminder, Scriptor helm, Ventosus chest, Gabriel Zenith arms, Camillus blade, Masterful Diligentia hilt, and Unwaking Nightmare guard. Okay? Okay, we're ready to keep moving. For traits, well, obviously he's a guy, so you're going to go with alternate 2. But if you want to go the Hannah route, where every one of my characters is now female for some reason, or she turns me into a chick for some reason, go with default 1. Hey, brown hair! It is me! Oh my gosh, it's got brown hair too. That's crazy. Okay, Hannah, were you messing with this? Am I a chick now in the story? Okay, anyway. No, go with alternate 2. Skin colors default, because you're not going to be able to see any of the skin anyway. For the head, nothing. No paint pattern, no symbol, no embossing. Keep it as is. For the ornament, now this was a little tricky. Obsidian crown is what Geist recommended, and I do like it, but I will admit it doesn't quite look like the picture. If you want it to look more like the picture, you could go with bronzed griffin or eagle from the Flying List mythical outfit. Either one of those would probably fit it a little bit better, but I feel like the crown looks better anyway, and plus, in the lore, the Raven Lord becomes a king of his own kingdom, an emperor at the end of it all. So the crown, I think, works just as well. So, get the ornament. For material, you want the cinnabar material, because obviously you want that crimson look, don't you? You want that crimson look to it. For the left shoulder, now, if you look at the picture, there is no embossing on the shoulder, but Geist added the Paisley 1 embossing, and I actually like it because it melds well into the arm. So I think that you should go with the Paisley 1. But if you don't want to go with anything, keep it bare. That'll look fine too. Okay? Now for the right shoulder. Now, this one, Geist didn't add anything to it. He kept it plain. And the reason why he didn't add the Paisley embossing is because look how much that colors. It's very, very little. But if you had to add something, if you wanted to add something, I would recommend the sun eye, because that could symbolize the Yatagara's eye, which Raven carries on his forehead. Another option could be the angel, the lion, or the skull. Any of those would work fine as well. Okay? Now for the back. This was a change. I did make this change. Initially, actually, you'll see the change in a minute. We have Galaxy 1 as the paint pattern. There's no symbol, no embossing. It's just Galaxy 1. But this isn't the same color that Geist gave. When we get to the color, you'll see the difference. But this is Galaxy 1. So get the paint pattern Galaxy 1 from the Prismatic Galaxy Mythic outfit. Okay? Okay. For the standards, this was another change. I added Ghoulish Wings 2 from the Fangs of the Otherworld bundle or from the Ghoulish Fate Illustrious outfit. And the reason why is because that looks like a big, dark, scary eye. And I think it works very, very well. So, again, going off of this idea that the Raven had to embrace a dangerous power to get the power he does. So that is the Yatagara's eye there. So, again, Ghoulish Wings 2. All right? All right. Now, for colors, this was the big difference. I used the Assassin's Creed Father of Understanding color scheme. I know, but hear me out. The reason I did this is because I love the way the crimson works and melds with the black on the back. It fits very well with the armor color, and I love the way it makes the golden eagle pop there. It really makes it stand out, which I really think works better. Now, I did like the yellow tint that was used by Geist. I thought that looked really good. I don't dislike it, but I kind of wanted the back cloth to meld well with the rest of the armor. Also, another reason I like it is because I added Galaxy 1 because what that did was it gave a red color to the back but turned the crown gemstones obsidian, which I wanted them to look because I think that just looks really well against the red. So that's part of the reason I did that. So get the Assassin's Creed Father of Understanding color scheme. If you don't have it for whatever reason, there are other options. I would recommend perhaps, hold on, I'll find it. You could get Fervent Fever, which would work fine. You could, nope, not Pirate Heart, sorry. Here it is. You could go New Retro, Reputation 2. That one's an easy one to get. You could go New Retro, which is fine. And there's one more. Scroll down to get to it. Here we are. You could get Restful Harmony. That is another good one you could get. Restful Harmony would work fine too. So if you do not have the Father of Understanding color scheme, those are good options. Okay? So that is how you build the look for the Raven Knight. Now let's go into his other stuff. For feats, feat 1, I use Conqueror. The Raven Knight in his story, his whole goal is he wants to retake his hometown of Edenville, and he wants to rebuild and expand it to become the once ancient and proud Empire Tigris. And to do this, he needs to force out the Osmod Sultanate, which has tried to take over his hometown, and so he is conquering territory to reclaim what is his. So Conqueror, I think, works well for him. His second feat is Inspire. When he goes, he basically is going to the different provinces and territories to inspire people to rise up and join his army. In fact, he is so inspirational that he went to the Dragon Empress, I'm not even kidding, and inspired her to join him and rizzed her up good. That is right, he rizzed her up. He actually marries the Dragon Empress, which goes further on into the story, but we'll save that for another day. Then Pugno Mortis. Honestly, when looking at these three, Second Wind would work fine, Takedown would work fine, but there's nothing about them that really jumps out at me as part of his lore. So I went with Pugno Mortis because it's just a good feat for him. Now, Morale Booster was the last one because when he activates his Yatagarasu, when he gets back up and he uses his powers, everyone's kind of impressed. Everyone sees this and kind of knows, okay, we've got a chance here. Stalwart Banner would be fine. Catapult would be fine, but I think Catapult is a very weak feat for Warden overall. I go with Morale Booster anyway. So that is the feats that you want. For executions, you want Use It or Lose It, Mega Super Combo Punch, Knockout, and Blades of the Vanguards. Now the reason I chose what I did is simple. Use It or Lose It and Knockout were actually ones that Geist already put in, and frankly they're just really good Warden executions. But I used Mega Super Combo Punch because, I'll be honest, when I was writing the Ravenlord lore, I was very much inspired by like some anime fights and some anime abilities, so I thought might as well do that little nod to anime while I'm in it. And Blades of the Vanguards, I like the fact that he's grabbing these ghostly weapons, like these holy looking weapons, and one thing that the Ravenlord can do is summon weapons from the ethereal plane that he can use in combat if he needs to. Plus, the whole idea of the Blades of the Vanguard is that the Raven Knight is supposed to be knowledgeable or at least accepting of other cultures. And hey, what do I do on my channel if not discuss various cultures, backgrounds, and peoples? So I thought that this would fit very well for me. Now for emotes, Power Surge. We use Power Surge and Recognition. Power Surge and Recognition. Power Surge being him gaining his powers, Recognition showing respect to his enemies. Pretty simple. For combat, Shouldered Blade and Twirl. Shouldered Blade, showing that respect, and Twirl, prepping for battle. Pretty cool. You could also go with Blade Homage or Mach de Virtute, which I think works well too. For the signature, we're going to go with A Night to Remember. A Night to Remember. Another one you could go with is Lethia's Fate, because the Ravenlord will always be remembered for what he did to restore Tigris. Alright, now for effects. I don't normally add effects to my characters. I don't normally do that because for the most part I don't think they're necessary. But if you want to add effects to the Raven Knight, here's what you want to do. For his idol, Messenger Wings. Yes, the Raven Knight is capable of using his powers to grow wings. I wish that we had some black wings we could use to match the Raven theme, but we don't, so we go with what we got. Executions. For the anime fight, the Super Mega Hyper Combo Punch, whatever, use Thunderbolt and Frightening to make it look like he's gone Super Saiyan or something. For This, you want Shadow Cult. And then for Blade of the Vanguards, the wings again. For free roam, Messenger's Wings and Beacon of Peace. And then for combat, Moonlight Sonata. Now the reason I use Moonlight Sonata is because the Atagoras eye will flash red once it's opened, and when he draws you into its power and starts using it, there will be a red glow around him. So I thought that that would work very well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you build the Raven Knight. I again want to thank Geist for getting this started and for building the initial design idea. I absolutely love it. All of the armor I used is exactly what he recommended. Like I said, I changed the sword and the color and a few other things, but that's about it. He was the one who started this, and he released a really cool video that I really like. Go check it out. Link will be in the description. So thank you guys for that. Again, awesome. Go subscribe to him. And also, guys, I'm going to be releasing on my channel the re-release of the Ravenlord lore if you'd like to hear it. I am in the process of putting that all back together and putting it back on this channel, and I'm going to continue it. It's a long-running Tolkien-esque style story where I've not just built this character, but built a whole world, like with its own creation mythos, everything. And it ties into a few of my other stories, including my story, like what was it called? I'm losing my mind. It ties into one of my stories, The Tempest Blade, which takes place about 2,000 years into the future. From the Ravenlord story. Like there's a ton of stuff there. I've really enjoyed building the story. I've had Lark's help putting it together, and the ability to take this world and kind of play with it is always awesome. And of course, because we can change it, obviously if Hannah wanted to get her hands on it, she would just make me a chick again, and that's what you would get. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, as always. I really love making these kind of videos, and since my hand is still injured, I can't make a whole lot right now, so this was fun to get to share with you guys. I hope you found something cool in it, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.